Today, on part 2 of We Need to Talk, we talk about psychology with Kirsten of NH Communities about psychology because she has a degree in psychology. And this will be amazing because psychology is interesting on We Need to Talk because...
You've done, yeah, I mean, I remember you saying that you used to do that all the time where you would do a trick and then it's like a super simple trick where you like pick a card, okay, and then you find the card. And then they would be like, yeah, and then he like lit everything on fire, like, and I'm hyperbolizing, but like they would like make it this super dramatic big thing that you did, and really it was like just like a 5-minute trick.
Yeah. And you want to make it like, so it's for instance for the trick I was telling you about, like from that person's story, the trick started when I started doing the trick I said, right? It doesn't start from before that. So from that person's point of view, it's impossible that I could ever put it in their pocket because I was standing over here the whole time. And because they were sitting down the whole time. How's that possible? Well, it's possible because at some point they were standing up. And I planted it then. But the memory you create is based off your context and how you recall it. You know, wherever your start point is for that and the end point. And how do you get from point A to point B? Well, you have to make up the details if they're missing or if they don't make sense.
Have you ever seen David Blaine does street magic?
Yes.
Yeah, that one's amazing.
It's so funny.
You're talking about the comedy video.
Oh yes, yeah, the comedy one
With the two gay guys in it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
I know they're just moving the camera back and forth to make it look like they're just so funny, and their acting is spot on.
It's the quintessential, like, it's the example of online humor. It's like a time capsule for me of that was like the video.
And he turns his orange soda into like a bunch of cheese doodles or something.
Like,
oh,
Cheez-Its. Huh? You want to start wrapping up?
Yeah. Well, so we can do the next one real quick.
Go ahead.
Okay, sorry. I was trying to make it clear so we wouldn't be talking on the photo.
Well, it's fine.
Okay, people, we're going to be rounding up here.
That was so sensual.
Okay.
Let's do some ASMR to wrap up.
And then I said to her, hello, how are you?
Okay, no more ASMR.
I actually love ASMR.
Oh, no. Oh, jeez.
And little did you know today you would be featuring yourself on an ASMR.
No. That's not happening.
Okay. So how do you want to wrap it up?
So let's wrap it up with...
There's something that encapsulates all the things.
Okay, we're going to go around. Favorite psychology fact. Ready? Go.
Oh, God. No, you start first.
Psychology fact? What do you mean?
I don't know. Just fact about the brain and how psychology works.
I don't think I know any facts.
All right, so I think my favorite fact is that people have a preference towards the maternal side. Just naturally because the maternal side is more likely to be the phylogenetic side.
The what? What was
the matriarchal line.
You said words at the end really, really fast. Something about the biological side?
Okay, so here's
I don't know what
I'm just gonna explain.
I just don't know what the words you were using were.
Okay, so they did some experiments and
I just thought you said, oh God, the V word.
The
I was
V
gonna
word?
say I heard
Vagina?
him say the V. Yeah. Okay.
Can you say vagina?
I can. Okay, so like.
No, you gotta do it in ASMR now.
No.
Okay.
Oh, hold on. Vagina.
No. I'm more of a reserved person.
I gathered that at this point. This is even after that the episode you listened to.
Well, yes. I don't know. I think it's just the way I grew up. You know, my parents kind of definitely leaned me more towards the be ladylike side. So, I mean, yes, I was offensive in my teens, but you know, who isn't? Once I reached my 20s, I was like, okay, maybe I'll tone it down a little bit.
This is me toned down a little bit, just for the record.
Okay, I'll do this in like 26 seconds.
Okay. 1.
Okay, so you have like a party, like for a wedding, right? So the wedding reception, and people give gifts. And in the experiment, they can only allow monetary gifts. They find that there's more money donated to the bride and groom on the maternal side as opposed to the paternal side. So the bride's mother side, you know, the bride's side, they will give more money than the paternal side. Not why it is. Evolutionary psychology. It is because there's a matriarchal line, so the mother is, the maternal side, they're going to be certain that whoever kid they have is going to be that person's kid. The father, the husband's side, not so much, sir, because the mother could have sex with someone else, she could cheat on him, and have sex with somebody who is not that person, and then he could be giving resources to someone who is not his kid. So
Right.
the study found that on average, the maternal side will tend to invest more into the bride and groom than the paternal side.
I have issues with the conclusion there. Like, why that conclusion? I can come up with a completely separate conclusion that's equally as valid because I'm making it up. Like, I don't understand how that conclusion has any validity based on that experiment.
What do you mean?
The maternal side gave more money. Maybe women are more generous in wedding situations. Maybe
So the maternal side is like, your uncle,
anybody on your mother's side of the family. So maybe
it's not sex specific.
I just don't understand how you can come to that being the reason.
So this is how this was generated. So there was someone who had a hypothesis who that based off evolutionary psychology, that the maternal side of a family would tend to dedicate more resources on average than the paternal side. Let's say you have like a million different weddings. So they came up with an experiment to test that. An experiment would be this: so have cash only donations to a wedding, and track who from what side of the family gave what, and then try to compare those two against each other. And then if you have your hypothesis with the kind of underlying reasoning, and then if you find this expected behavior to be true, then this gives credence to the fact that the hypothesis is true. Now, whether it's actually true or to what effect, that's another question. But that's why more and more testing needs to be done.
And that's more or less the point that I wanted to get to, was that any experiment of this nature, to say like the reason is this as you proposed it, is very dangerous, because I don't think that that's necessarily true. I think you could say like it's like this is what they were testing for and this is what they found, which supports that. But to say this is the reason, I think, is a very dangerous statement.
So it's more levity, and so I just explaining the way I just did there. It's very hard to do, right? So whenever you explain scientific studies and conclusions, that kind of context is built in, so you have to say that, because if you put those caveats in everything you say, now the conversation has got way more clinical, way more kind of tough to decipher.
I think for you to say that like that's baked in, that's implied, isn't necessarily true. I think that especially with anytime you're working with like the general populace, like people are going to take what you're saying at face value. So if you're saying it that way, they're not going to take the implication, they're going to take it literally. So and I just want to make sure that we have the caveat there, where I don't feel that that's necessarily the case.
I mean, it's the same next thing as saying that a study found this, they found these results, and this is the proposed mechanism of action, right? I mean, it's nothing like that's what any news article will do when they talk about a study.
And I have issue with the way news articles do that.
I mean, because the way of, otherwise you just give them the study, right? And most people don't want to know a study, they want to know what the study found and then what the study means.
I just think it's important to phrase it in a way that describes it a little bit better. I don't think that method describes it particularly well.
All right, Kirsten, what's your opinion? Get you in on this.
Oh God, to decide whether or not like people lean towards the maternal side?
No, it's just whether about the phrasing.
Honestly, I'm not really sure. Like, I mean, I can see where you're coming from. Maybe the phrasing is a little bit off. But, mothers are known for being like caregivers. So it would make more sense that more gifts go to, the bride at a wedding, because it's expected that the bride / to-be mother will be the one that's taking care of the child. Unless I totally misread what you guys were talking about.
No. I think that he's not necessarily saying the bride, though. He's saying the maternal side, so that would be both for the husband and the bride, correct?
Yeah.
The mother's side of the family for both of the people being married.
Oh, okay.
So it's like
the mother's brother and the mother's parents, and rather than the father's.
So you get the bride and groom and the maternal side. So the wife's, or soon to be wife's, all her family,
Right.
and what they give monetarily.
I mean, I've never heard of this study, obviously have not read it, so I can't say for certain personally. But I do understand that, you know, historically, people have taken care of, you know, women more. You know, women were always the caregivers. Men would go out, they would hunt for food, they would go get a job, they would like support the family, you know, in ways that were just kind of like, I don't want to say like easy because obviously working is hard. Hunting back then was hard, but everything was always, I'll give you the supply that you need to take care of our kids. And if, you know, the bride from both sides, you know, maternal sides of bride and groom are, all the gifts are mostly going to the bride, then that makes sense because it's going to be seen that, you know, the husband will have a job and whatever he does. I mean, modern day and age, like, you know, the husband might pay a little bit more for the mortgage on the house, where the mother, whatever she makes with her income, whatever it may be, will go towards, you know, giving her, you know, child maybe things that he or she immediately needs. I don't know if that makes sense. If I'm,
I get you.
yeah,
So the reasoning here would be a little bit different with this case, because here we're saying, so in most of nature, not everything, but it's usually the exception to the rule, where the male in a relationship will not, or not relationship, like when a male has sex with a female, the male usually just abandons the female. There's no like caring of the offspring. Now, there's plenty of animals where they do care for the offspring, like such as penguins, a lot of different birds, other certain mammals. They'll kind of, you know, cohabitate. But like bears, a bear fucks another bear. That bear is just going to, you know, walk off and doesn't even care. And that's kind of how it works for the most part in most of nature. When you have an animal where let's say the father sticks around, there tends to be, the reason why the father doesn't usually stick around is, you know, they don't want to, you know, invest the resources. But number two, they're not certain if whatever this, you know, their mate has is going to be their child, because why invest resources if you're not certain if you're your child? And it's the more kind of like a polygamous, is that the word? No, the less monogamous like a species is, the less likely they're to invest into resources. So it's kind of taking that idea, but applied just to familial side, because it's like humans are like the few species where there's a familial kind of investment,
right?
Like multi-generational.
Hey guys, Meter here, and I'm super excited about this. We worked out a deal with mybookie.ag to get our listeners a special promo code. This promo code will literally double your first deposit at MyBookie. Between football season, the MLB playoffs right now, the start of the NBA, NHL, go Bruins, it's time to get off the sidelines. It's time to get into the action. Working with MyBookie is a big deal, and so is the free money they're giving our listeners. Double deposit with promo code NEEDTOTALK. I only know two things in life. The Patriots are going to win, and MyBookie is the best online bookie out there. You think I'm wrong? Prove it. Put your money where your mouth is. Do the smart thing. Go to mybookie.ag and get that cash. mybookie.ag, promo code NEEDTOTALK. Back to the show.
Well, I mean, even though technically humans are, in a sense, you know, an animal types of species, we are at the top of that, and our needs and wants and resources and the things that we choose to do are very different from what a bear decides to do.
Yeah.
And, you know, in some cases, families stay together for a long time. Others a short time. Others maybe, you know, one or the other parent like just kind of disappears and leaves their child up for adoption, for all I know. Either way, in the case of humans, there is this historic favor the woman over the man in terms of, like, you know, resources.
Yeah, and part of that might be it's because
like a baby shower is for the woman, you know, not for the man.
It's for the baby, right?
Well, it's for the baby, yes, but I mean, like, you know, when you go to a baby shower, it's typically, you know, the focus is on the woman and then the baby she's going to have. So
men are kind of like need to be there to make a baby, but the woman is the one who actually has the baby. So,
and carries it for 9 months and
takes
goes
care
through
of
that
it,
issue
yeah.
and then takes care of it. Well, they both parents take care of it. But from what I understand, moms typically have more involvement with the child throughout their life, where and this was a statistic that I read throughout getting my degree, but men don't really, like, they'll feel an attachment to their child, but it feels more real when the child starts to like walk and talk and like, you know, really bring on those like extra things. Is
that really something
facial
that-
features?
Oh my god.
Yes.
This makes
yeah.
okay. So my nephew.
Remember that time we were wrapping it up?
My nephew. I met my nephew. He's like a little baby, you know, at first, and it's like, oh, hey, this is a thing. He's hairy, and then it's like later, like he was just kind of like being a baby, and like you're kind of boring, and then it's like at some later point, he was like walking around and kind of doing, you know, crawling, and like still not very interesting. And now that he can talk, I'm like, hey, Owen, how you doing?
Yeah.
And now we can interact, but it's kind of just like that. Like, I had no interest in my nephew up until that point. Like, not like no interest, like, but from like an emotional point of view.
Right.
Like, I did some babysitting and stuff. You know, I would kind of interact with him. But it's like, I didn't start connecting with Owen until he started becoming like interactable.
Yes. Whereas a mother who carries her, you know, baby to term, there's actually, you know, there's actually a psychological connection between a mother and her baby during that time that the baby is in her womb. You know, the whole thing is actually interconnected, not just like here, but your baby can kind of like understand your emotions and like when you're stressed.
Telepathy. I got it.
Yeah, basically your child's like, or eventually when I have a kid, my child will be telepathic towards what I'm feeling. But it's just, you know, at the end of the day, when the baby is born, the mother's going to be very invested because she has already been invested for 9 months, and she kind of has that like natural feeling for how her, you know, baby works and does what she can to help them grow. And I really hope I'm not offending anybody by putting this out there.
Offending people.
I am trying my best just to be scientifically accurate from what I've studied.
All right, Meter, let's not make a baby and wrap this up.
That sounds great.
Where can we find you?
Oh, where can you find me?
Yes.
Oh, yes, right. New Hampshire Communities, NH Communities on Facebook. We allow people to post their small local businesses on our page. No multi-level marketing or representatives of a much larger brand. And you can reach me on my website. That is nhwebdesigns.com. And yeah, that's basically
Easy
it.
to remember.
Yeah, no, if you need web design and marketing, you can reach out to me on Facebook or my website.
All right, awesome.
Nathan?
Well, I have a website. It's called nathanpepin.com. I'm going to be designing some websites, building my portfolio, and looking for the developer way of life. We have a new website. It's going to be called, you know, something.
Did you just say looking for the developer way of life?
Yeah.
That is an amazing way to say I'm taking on new clients.
It's very true.
Looking for the
Very true.
developer way of life. Wow.
Hey, and I can do all multimedia shit. So I can do Android app. No, iPhone app. I can do Android apps.
All of them except that one.
Well, I can do like an iPhone app if it's on the web browser.
Oh, remind me next time I have an iPhone for you, an old gen one I can just give you and you can create an app.
Ooh, that'd be cool. I also can do websites, basic websites and stuff like that. If you want like a simple static website, certainly can do that. If you want a more interactive experience, I can do that. We can talk about the price because the price is going to be a little bit different for that as opposed to the other thing. And I can help you, you know, get media, websites, videos,
All right, that's enough
audio.
plugging yourself.
Come on. I have an app. It's called Kegel Hit.
NathanPepin.com. NathanPepin.com. Check it out.
Wait, I got to get a reaction to Kegel Hit though.
All right.
I have an app. It's called Kegel Hit.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, oh, you know what Kegels are?
It's high intensity interval training for your Kegel muscles.
Why does that sound inappropriate?
It's mothers do that, right?
Yeah.
Do Kegels?
Yeah. Okay.
It's like strength training your pelvic floor type thing.
That sounds Okay.
But he does high intensity interval training for it, and he built an app around it.
Yep. So you want to improve your Kegels? Get Kegel Hit today and hit your Kegels.
Hit those Kegels. I'm not going to plug any of my own stuff. I'll just plug Curly's Comedy Club based in Rochester, New Hampshire. Head on over to it on Facebook or on the web. Just type in Curly's Comedy Club Rochester, and easy to find. They do great comedy shows all the time. Super cheap, like $5 or $10 for a ticket. And they actually have some really awesome local talent, and they bring in some outside local talent. And sometimes they have trivia nights. They have a bar. They have food. It's a great time. Check it out. Curly's Comedy Club. Highly suggested.
And just for you, I'm going to plug your thing. It's called Shama's View. It's Steve's EP.
Of all the shit.
Yeah, it's great.
Okay.
I mean, I helped produce some of the songs, and they're amazing, especially Spitfire. Spitfire and Take a Bow. Those are my favorite right there. Okay. A couple ones that didn't make it to the cut, but those were, I like
20 minutes.
Get them going, but those ones on the album are amazing. Where can you
Much
find that,
appreciated.
Steve?
I don't know, Nate. Nate,
Oh, God.
tell me one psychological thing about your brain.
It's weird.
That's I like that one. Thank you.
Hold on. I got one even better.
Is it true you think about sex every 6 seconds?
No, that's not true.
That's like way too much.
Yeah. I mean, maybe some part of your brain is like, but no.
Oh, okay.
I mean, were you looking for like a particular answer? You wanted me to say yes?
I don't know. I was just trying to find a segue here.
Okay. Is it true that your brain thinks about sex at least once a year?
Yeah.
Ooh, we need to talk.
There you go. Good one. I love that segue.
I'm not answering that question.
Once a year?